Welcome to part 2 of my 100% to 0% winter test. I recorded these about a couple months ago, and I thought, man, you know, it keeps getting cold in the spring here, like April, May time. It actually, it'll just cool off really quick, or it'll get really hot and then it'll cool off really quick, and snow and everything. But I did this 100% to 0% test, and I already released the first one. I'm just really excited. So part 1, as you saw, was how is it, like, how does the battery handle? How far can you go whenever it's cold but it's still above freezing? This time, for this part of the video, it's how far can you go and it is below freezing the whole time. So I really appreciate you guys. I hope you enjoy this. 100%, 0%, below freezing the whole time. So enjoy. It's cold out there. It's actually going to be like pretty cold this week. So what a perfect morning to do a winter test. Look, it's snowing. Woohoo! That's awesome. So we're starting out at 322 miles is what it's saying. 100%. And we're going to reset the trip there. There we go. All right, so I just got up to Woodland Park here, and we are at 25 miles. But I guess driving in the snow and everything, it's down to 89% and 1.1. But that's what I wanted to show you, that how cold it is. It's actually 16 degrees. So this is cold. So we'll see. Don't worry about the range. It'll keep going. But yeah, it's kind of snowy out here, and it's supposed to keep snowing today, and so we'll be driving back to Colorado Springs in the snow a little bit. Anyways, so yeah, this is a good little test, I think, anyways. So yeah, I also think that snow does impact the range a little bit more. So we'll see how it does. So maybe this is not a good test, but people drive in the winter in the snow, it's like you have to know. So maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But still up and down between Woodland Park and Colorado Springs. So it is very similar to the other test. So, all right, thanks. We'll just keep going. Thanks for watching. Now, leaving work, I just wanted to point this out to you. It's now down to 12 degrees. Now that's saying 89% on the battery. I think that's what it was before. But 95% acceleration. So this starts going down whenever it's cold, not just when the battery percentage is down. Anyways, just thought I'd show you that after being at work for several hours. So finishing the first day here, it's not looking as good. It's gone 50 miles, and it is only at 1.8. So, and it got down to 86%. So it's not looking as good as last time, but that's probably because it's even colder. So this is a good test. So as it gets a little colder, we'll see how this does as it continues. Woohoo! I love Blue Cruise. It's at 85% starting out the next day here. 21 degrees. That's what I wanted to show you. And look how pretty this is. Roads are kind of clear, but there's still a lot of snow on the sides, like in the mountains and stuff, and just a little, or there's still like a little dusting still in the mountains. And then when I get on 24, it's gonna be a little bit more. But it's at the end of the day, and if you can read that, it's 100 miles, 1.9 now instead of 1.8, so it's going up a little bit, I guess. And then 28 degrees and 66%. So not looking any better than the last test, but we'll keep going on this and we'll see what we end up with. Woohoo! All right, we're starting day 3 of our winter test of 100% to 0%. So I just thought I'd get on here, and man, today this is actually a perfect test time, because the first day it was snowing, so I was driving through a bunch of snow, and today it's actually really super windy. So driving up to Woodland Park whenever it's windy, and then it's still really cold. It's actually 26. It's actually 27 according to the truck. So some of you may not think that's cold, but it's cold when it's windy. And it's supposed to be snowing a little bit in Woodland Park. So yeah, I think this has been great. Yep, it is 26. Sorry, it just went down. But I think it's going to be even colder in Woodland Park. So I'm coming from Colorado Springs to Woodland Park, driving through what we call the pass here. And yeah, I love it. This truck is awesome. So this is going to be a perfect test for winter. And that's mainly because last night it got down into single digit temperatures. Now it was in the garage, so that does help. I do park my truck in the garage, but I don't let it get above 40, so that helps it at night. But in the morning, and now it's down to 25 degrees. In the morning, you know, it's obviously really cold. In the evening, it's cold. It's not really, outside temperature is not getting above 30 degrees this week. So that is a really good thing for this test. So yeah, we'll just keep going. And so if I do show you a dash picture here while I'm not driving, like if I'm back at home and I'm just starting, I'll show you here actually the picture when I just started this morning. It says 38 degrees, but the reality is that was because I was inside the truck was inside the garage. It is now down to 24 degrees, so gradually decreasing here in temperature as we go up. And still doing good. It's saying we're only going to have 112 miles left, but again, that's the range meter. Anyways, I just thought I'd get on here and give you a little update on what we're doing. So we're just going to keep going here. We are now 18 degrees driving, and it's just super windy, and just driving up to Woodland Park. So yeah, this is fun, and it's a little snowy. Started snowing again, so some of the roads are they're kind of plowed. You got lanes a little bit for the tires. So yeah, we're looking at 18 degrees, and we're just gonna keep going on this little winter wonderland test. Woohoo! I can't think of a better thing to talk about than the safety of this truck and how awesome it actually is. I feel very, very safe. It handles great in winter weather, which is why I'm driving in winter weather here to demonstrate that. So yeah, I can't think of a better vehicle to drive in winter weather. It handles great in the snow and the ice and wet and dry weather. Now, obviously, that depends on the tires that you get. I actually have the Falcon Wild Peak AT3W tires, so those are pretty awesome. We are driving in Woodland Park, Colorado right now at 15 degrees. That's the reason why I'm driving here in the snow, just to show you guys what it is like. And it just handles snow like it's normal. So yeah, right now we're going over lots of snowy area here. Now, it doesn't mean you need to drive crazy. I'm sure that there's situations where, you know, there's, you know, sheets of ice or something that it just no car is going to be able to grip on. But for the most part, it actually does really, really good. I think it's probably one of the best vehicles in winter weather. And yeah, winter weather driving in my Ford F-150 Lightning. Yeah. I'm so weird. All right, we are in the middle of day 3 here, actually finishing my work time on day 3, and it's cold, and this truck has been sitting in the cold this whole time. So I want to show you where it's at, what it's been doing. If you notice, it is actually down to 73% on acceleration and 1.6. Now again, I'm up in Woodland Park, so that's going to increase back, still 125.9 miles. We're at 46%. So this is actually going to stay about the same, and then this will increase as I head back to Colorado Springs. But anyways, I just wanted to tell you And then also I want to show you here, it is 12 degrees and it's been pretty cold all day long. It is freezing out here. I don't know if you could see, but there is a lot of snow, and there was a little bit of a snowstorm that kind of came through here. I have to get the ice still off my windshield. And by the way, I love the remote start. It is awesome. It is awesome. However, I'm not doing it on this test in order to actually try to get as much range as I can, but it works great. You just remote start and it basically just heats up your cabin and all that kind of stuff. It is awesome. But I want to tell you, the reason why I'm not doing it is it uses about 1%, a little bit more than 1% of the battery. And you may say, hey, that kind of goes against what you were saying. Like whenever I did a test where I sat there and it only used about 1% or 1.5% for about an hour of sitting there and the truck staying warm. Well, this is talking about warming it up from being cold. It's like it sets everything on max. It gets it all. So it does use up a decent amount of the battery of 1 and sometimes up to 2%, just warming it up in the morning if it's sitting outside or after work. But I still take advantage of that because it is awesome to get in a nice warm truck. So anyways, all right, let's get going. We'll keep going on this, and we're at 46%, so let's see how it does. Woohoo! All right, we are looking at here, just getting back home. We're looking at now 155 miles and 1.8 miles per kilowatt hour. So it's gone up a little bit, but down from what I'm expecting. But we are at 23 degrees. But yeah, it was cold up in Woodland Park, and it's a little bit warmer in Colorado Springs after getting back. So we'll keep going, and I'll keep you updated. So we're back, and I have an interesting situation that I'm encountering here. It actually warmed up a little bit today, actually above freezing. And I told you this test, really, I'm doing a below freezing test. And so, but I wasn't driving the car at that time. It was just sitting, and it did get a little bit above freezing. So you can actually see on the phone, it actually got up to about 44 degrees today. So that was not necessarily in Woodland Park. It only got up to 39, but that's still above freezing. And because that's where I was most of the time. So Thursday, it actually got to, or it's going to get to 51 and 45. It's going to be cold in the morning. But what's really cool is that starting on Saturday all the way through the next Friday, it's actually not going to get above freezing at all, and sometimes in the negatives. So to me, I think just like what I was saying, I'm going to have to it will probably be better to do a proper test since I'm trying to test all of this out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this test, and I'm going to actually restart. We'll get charged back up, and then wait a couple of more days to start this test again, but you'll get the privilege of seeing an uninterrupted video here. That's what it is here, like real life here in Colorado Springs, is that it's not usually super cold for more than a few days at a time, and then it warms back up a little bit to about 40, 45, even 50. But as you see here, it's actually it does get cold for a few days in a row, and we'll get into the negatives. So that's what I really want to do the test with. So that's what I'm going to do. So anyways, yeah, we'll just go ahead and restart. All right, we are starting again. You can see my breath with our 100% to 0% cold weather test. And this is actually really cold. So right now, as you can see on here, it is 15 degrees. Now, some people may not think that's cold, but it's getting down to -2. It's actually 1 o'clock right now. So it's 15 degrees at 1 o'clock, and tomorrow it's going to get even colder. Now on Tuesday, it's going to warm back up a little bit. So I'm going to try to keep this. I may just try to run it down to 0. We'll see how it goes, but I'm not going to allow it to go above freezing when I'm using the truck. So we'll see we'll see how that goes. But yeah, let's just get started. Come over here. Look here, you can tell it's actually fully charged. If you could see this little thing here, you can tell it's actually fully charged. So we're gonna just unattach it here, close it, and let's get going. All right. Woo! It's cold. I should put my coat on. All right, get in here. All right, look over here, 100%, and it's saying 294 miles, but let's see what it ends up doing. Return to sport mode, yes. And then trip 2 is what we're gonna reset. So you just hold down the OK, you reset that, and then we go to Pro Power Onboard, and we turn that off. So yeah, it looks like it's gonna actually get above freezing on Tuesday for a little bit. So again, if it does at all, just what happened a little bit ago, if it does at all, then we will be resetting the test again. Hopefully we won't have to do that. Right now my temperature in the truck is saying 35 and 36 degrees, but that's again because it's inside the heated garage, and I keep it just a little bit above freezing in the garage, so that way all my stuff doesn't freeze. So anyways, let's get started. Let's get on the road. And yeah, this is a lot of fun. Hopefully you're enjoying it, but I can't help it if Colorado is what it is. Sometimes it just warms up a little bit in the middle of winter. That's what it is, but that's the reality of what you deal with here in Colorado. And hopefully this, I'll be able to drain it down to 0% before the next couple days, or before it actually gets above freezing. So let's go. Woo-hoo! So as you can see here, we're actually driving. This is like icy and snowy here. There's a lot of sand on the roads, but yeah, I always think it's fun whenever this thing gets up to 100%. It is like, it acts like it's doing regenerative braking. If you look here on the dash, it'll act like it, but well, not right now because we're speeding up a little bit. But actually, it's not. It's just, it just wants to keep going and going and going and going. It's just like, please, 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 let me go. I love driving in the snow here. It is awesome. All right, let's see here. What else do I want to say? Man, God has blessed me with a great place to live. Look at all these beautiful mountains. Look at all these beautiful mountains. That is awesome. It's interesting how it'll look like it does regenerative braking, but it doesn't actually slow down at all whenever it's at 100%. So I think that's kind of interesting. So yeah, it's 15 degrees now. This is a very, very good cold weather test for this Ford Lightning. So in the middle here of actually this our test, down to 82%, and we've gone 43 miles. And may not look that good with only 1.3, but again, we're up here in Woodland Park, and so yeah, we'll just keep going, and I think it's gonna be good. So yeah, we're right over here at Woodland Park, but the significant thing is it's significantly colder. It is exactly 1 degree right now. So if you see that right down there, 1 degree on the truck. And then when I stopped it before I started rolling the camera, it actually said, hey, temperature's cold outside, please plug in your truck. Well, I don't have a place to plug it in up here, and I'm not going to because we're in the middle of the test. All right, so we're going to keep going here, and we'll see how this turns out. How well does it start up in the cold? really easy actually. So you just click yes on return to sport mode, and then we come over here and turn off Pro Power Onboard, and those are the two things that I do. But yeah, it starts up pretty easily, even at I can't even talk, even at -7 degrees. So let's get going here. Let's keep putting more miles on here, see how many we can get out of this. Look at that, -7 degrees. Now that's cold. So this is a pretty good little cold weather test. So as you can tell here, this is what I have on. I have the seat heater on, I have the heated steering wheel on, and I have it set on 69 degrees, so because it does get kind of warm in here. So it's actually, I'm using the heat. All right, we are going back and forth now. Actually, I'm looking on my weather app here, and as you can tell, it's saying 0 degrees, but if we look over here where we are right now, so weather's not always exact science, I guess, but right now, looking down there, it is a -7, and we are back in Colorado Springs. We're at 74% and about 75 miles right now, a little bit more than that. I'm actually, it's like -10 up in Woodland Park. I just thought I'd continue this test. I'm parked down here in Colorado Springs right now. That's why I don't have my seatbelt on, but it's looking like on the weather that it's going to warm up a little bit tomorrow and get a little bit above freezing, at least in Colorado Springs. Since I'm going to be in Woodland Park in the middle of the day, it actually is going to top out at 32 degrees. So that's going to be really good for us. So we should be able to continue the test tomorrow. Again, this test, even though it's really cold now, the test was mainly for not going above freezing. So right now we're looking good, and I think that the battery actually is impacted even more the lower that it actually gets. But we're testing that out. Right now we're at -7, and it's been really cold so far this whole test. So I'm actually going to go back and forth to Woodland Park a few extra times, even though it's in the evening here, and get the battery down a little bit more. So we're gonna keep going here for a little bit longer, and then I'm gonna finish out the rest of the week getting it down to 0% on the battery, and we'll see how cold weather impacts this. So hope y'all are enjoying it. Let me show you the screen again, what we got. I'll get here a little bit closer, easier to read. So yeah, we are looking at 1.7 miles per kilowatt hour so far, and -7 degrees, 73% on the battery, and 75 miles. Lots of sevens there. We'll just keep draining. Actually, as you can tell, I'm going to be using this for a few days, but this is a lot of trust in the battery. And by the way, the tires are doing great driving up and down to Woodland Park. There's been hardly any snow today, but the snow is still on the roads, and but there's been it hasn't slipped at all. No issues on the road, no nothing. It has been awesome. I am so excited. So we're gonna do this one more little round trip here, put a few more miles on it, and yeah, we'll just see how this goes. And I may change my mind. I may keep going. Because I like testing. I like testing whenever it's really, really cold. So yeah, this is awesome. I'm excited. So all right, let's do this. Let's keep going. All right, check this out. I just stopped back up in Woodland Park now, back down to 1.5, but it is -11 degrees. It was -12 as I was driving, so sorry I'm not able to show you that, but that is crazy. -11 degrees. This is really exciting. And then we'll continue tomorrow. It'll be a little bit warmer tomorrow, and then a little bit colder the few days after that. So yeah, this is wintertime testing. So yeah, glad you're glad you're joining me. This is a lot of fun. Look at this, -3. That is crazy. So we're finishing up for the night, and 108. So -3. We're at 1.7 miles per kilowatt hour, 58%, and 108 miles and that we've gone so far. So we are finishing up, man. I got my jacket on because I had to stop and grab something to eat. It is freakishly cold right now. So some of you may be used to that -3. I'm not. And I know, even though I'm in Colorado, so it doesn't usually get in the negatives. It will, like, every winter, it'll do it like once, maybe twice for a few days or something like that. But yeah, it's still cold. It's this part of the test is actually, it's kind of interesting when it does this, when things kind of shift a little bit more than what I had planned. But this has been more of a super cold test, really, because it's gotten down to, as you saw, -11. It actually got down to -13. I did not record that like while I was driving, because I just don't want to. I want to make sure that I'm safe. So, but it did get down to -13. It was down to -11 on what I recorded when I stopped. But anyways, this is actually a really good test. 108 miles so far, 57% still remaining on the battery. So we're going to go up and down to Woodland Park again tomorrow. It's still going to be cold. It's going to be a little bit warmer than today, but so far we started this part of the super cold test. It was like 13 degrees. So it's going to be cold in the morning, and whenever I head up there, and it's going to just be cold the rest of the day, and it's going to be even cooler the rest of the week. So we're going to finish our first night here, and then we'll get going again tomorrow. But I just wanted to tell you, man, this is really cold, and it's working out pretty well, because as you could tell, let me go back here. As you can tell, the my 1.7 is actually a lot less than the 2.2 that I got on the other part of the test, and even less than what I had started with, where I was going to start doing the cold and it got above freezing, and so I had to restart the test. So this is actually getting us a lot less. Now, if you look out there, you could tell, been driving in some snow. There's still snow and ice and stuff. We may show some of the dash cam footage. Something else I wanted to point out, if you look up here, that shows you the temperature of the battery. And so the batteries are a little cold, and they're actually showing it. So just something to point out there. So yes, you can drive your Ford Lightning, and it shouldn't be and without a problem in cold weather. It just does get a lot less on range. And this is a 2023, so I do not have the heat pump, so the batteries do not stay warm by anything from the truck. So anyways, this is fun. So we're gonna get going again tomorrow, and I will see you then. But yeah, -3 degrees. It's cold, but minus 12, 11, 12, 13. You know what? When it gets below 0, it don't matter. It's cold. So, and for those of you outside of the United States, this is not Celsius, this is Fahrenheit. So I guess you'll have to do the conversion. So I actually don't know what it converts to. Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll just keep going. All right, starting out our second day here. It is now 7 degrees. Let me get in there. 7 degrees. So warmed up a little bit. It's still cold, but I'm staying pretty warm here in the truck. I got it on 69, and seat heater a little bit, and steering wheel heater. So yeah, sorry for making you dizzy. Anyways, this is awesome. So we'll keep trucking. Woohoo! All right, just wanted to show you where we are up in Woodland Park, mid-second day here. 37%, 1.5 miles per kilowatt hour. Again, going back down to the springs, it's not going to go much more down than that, except after I drive around there a little while. But we got 133 miles. This is what I want to show you, though. 17 degrees, so it did warm up a little bit. But the cool thing is this is a really good opportunity to show you. This is gonna, well, I'm gonna be sitting here, or this truck is gonna be sitting here for several hours in cold temperature, and it's gonna start up just fine when I come back out here. So right now it is 9:05, and so right now it's about 9:05, and then so I'm gonna be here for a few hours, and then we will it's just gonna sit here and it's gonna start right back up. So I'll show you that too, because I figure some people may be wondering. Acceleration, again, this just shows the batteries are a little cold, and if you look up here, that's a little bit below, like it's a little bit, it's still within the normal range, but it's a little bit of below center, so the batteries are a little bit cold. So we'll see how they do. I love Woodland Park. It is awesome. Look at all that. It's just so pretty. So my truck has been sitting out here in this parking lot for almost 10 hours. That's why I'm breathing a little heavier. It's almost 7 o'clock. And we're going to see how well it starts up. I don't know exactly how cold it is, but it's not as cold as yesterday, but it's still pretty cold, and it's just been sitting here. So, really like these welcome lights. Normally they come on a little bit sooner, but they did come on. It was about 20 feet away, I guess. So, wind's picking up a little bit. Let's see what we got here. Does it start after sitting here for a while? Ready? Yes, without a problem. I already knew it was going to do that. Return to sport mode, yes. Still looking at 1.5. As you can tell, it's the same mileage and everything. When I left it earlier, I just wanted to show you how easy it was to get it started. And this is saying, show you a little bit closer here. If you could read that, this is saying 23 degrees. So it's not as cold as it was yesterday, but it's still cold, still below freezing, and it's sitting out here in frigid temperatures. It did the same thing yesterday too, and the batteries, you could tell, doesn't necessarily like it very much. So, you know, as you could tell right up there as well. So we're gonna get back on the road, and we're just gonna see how far we can make this go. So 37% right now, and then so we'll head back down to Colorado Springs. I don't project it's going to be much lower than that by the time I get back down. So probably be about 35%. And then I'm just going to let it sit there at that. And then we'll repeat this again tomorrow, because it's going to be even colder tomorrow. I think a high of like 20 degrees. So I think that'll really help with our little test here. So hope you're enjoying it. Hope you're learning some good things. So yeah, it starts right up in the cold. Without a problem. I already showed you once with the minus 11 degrees that it actually did the same thing. So yeah, like there's not any issues. You don't have the starter issues like you might with the gas vehicle. And so I think that's pretty cool. Anyways, all right, let's keep going. But it is something to note. I am trying to get good mileage, good range, but it is knocking it down significantly from whenever it gets super cold from what you would normally get with a whenever it's in the summer. So if you notice, if you remember, like if you watch my other summertime range video, I'm doing this same trip going up and down from Colorado Springs to Woodland Park, and I got 353 miles. So this is definitely significantly different. It's looking like it's going to be somewhere around 260 at this point. So we'll see if I actually get that, if that's a good estimate or not. So, all right, let's keep going. Woohoo! All righty, I'm starting out. Third day here with 33%. Sport mode, yes. 33%, 1.8 is where I'm at right now, miles per kilowatt hour. Again, this says 40, it doesn't matter, that's not the temperature here. So still lots of snow on the ground, and we're gonna get going. Let's see. Right now, this is saying 23 degrees. And that's what it is here in the Springs. But in Colorado Springs, but I'm gonna verify that after getting out on the road a little bit, because I've noticed that the temperature on my truck is actually a little bit more accurate. So, because the weather app just kind of gives you a big wide range of the average of the area, not exactly what it is right where you are. So again, Pro Power on board as well, and we're going to turn that off. All right, let's do this. Look at that, always pops up. Outside air is cold. Here's where we are. 16 degrees. 14 is the battery, and they're saying 19 miles of range. It's obviously going to be more than that because we are up in Woodland Park now, but I wanted to show you it's down to 16 degrees. The battery is not saying that it's cold right now, so that's a good thing. And we are down to 1.7 miles per kilowatt hour, so it didn't go down as much this time. I think it does that. It starts averaging out a little bit more. So the fun thing is going to be here again, actually. Let me unbuckle here since I'm parked. The fun thing is actually going to be letting the truck sit here again for several hours while I'm at work. And again, it's 16 degrees. And so some of you may be like, well, you can't let a truck sit out in the cold, or can you? Maybe you're questioning that just because you're curious. Well, I'm here to tell you that I can, because I've done it. I do it like every cold day. So I just want to show you that it doesn't really impact it at all, and it starts right up. But yeah, this is cool. So I'll probably drain the battery the rest of the drain it down the rest of the way today. So we'll do that, and I have a little bit more of a test for you after this is done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to charge it up tonight, because something I have told you before, but I don't know if I've said it much on this video, but the battery actually, I believe, operates better. It's just better for it if you plug it in overnight, even if it's on a slower charger. It just helps it. I believe it helps it last longer. Not really a science behind that, but the battery companies and car companies actually do recommend that. That you just leave it plugged in, especially whenever it's cold. So, all right, we're gonna keep going here. Thanks for watching. Woohoo! Man, what a great place I get to work. It's almost like a postcard. There's Pikes Peak. What a great view. Great sunset. Anyway, so we're coming back over here to my truck. Gonna see if it starts up so you can see the light a little bit. So welcome lights are turning on, so that's good. But yeah, truck usually just starts up without a problem. So let's see what we got. All right, again, being here several hours, just get in the truck and starts right up. Driving range low warning came on there for a second, but that's why it's orange, and it's still saying 13%, 1.7 miles per kilowatt hour, and 184. And if you look up here, earlier this wasn't down, but now it is. So it does make the battery a little cooler, and obviously you could tell it's only going to give me about 25% of the acceleration. So anyways, yeah, we come over here too. Make sure we click the Pro Power on board. And this right here, I have noticed on other tests as well that this does turn off whenever it's at a low percentage. So we're going to make sure we get the heater on here though, because it's cold. Don't know why that was turned off, but Turn that back on, get a little seat heater action. All right, so yep. Now is gonna be the fun part. And it's 16 degrees and 13%. But the reason why this is the fun part is it's saying 12 miles range, which obviously is going to get more than that because I'm going to be going downhill. But we're going to be draining this down to 0 now tonight or this evening. So let's do that. Woohoo! All right, we are here, and this is still saying down in Colorado Springs now. This is still saying 16 degrees. On the way down, though, it actually did go down to about 10 degrees. And we are at 10% now. And back at 1.8 and 203 miles. So, think I should keep going? Yep, I will. All right, so right now it's looking like I'm not going to hit the 260 that I was thinking I might hit. So maybe like another 20 miles or something like that. I might actually 230 miles, something. But yeah, this is the this has been a fun one because this is like the bitter cold test. This is not just like kind of cool, but yeah, it's not only has it been staying under freezing, it's been sub freezing as you saw earlier in the test, and you know, well below freezing basically this whole time, and the truck's been sitting there while I've been working and everything. So this has been a great test. We're just going to keep going, and we're going to see how many miles we can get out of this. That was a creepy laugh. All right, let's go. So here's an interesting thing that's happening. I haven't got down this low before, but it is only allowing me 15% on acceleration. Now, you may not think it's that big of a deal, but it actually is, because I'm actually going back uphill now, and right now it actually does it because it only allows 15%. It's only going like 33 miles an hour, so 32 miles an hour and a 45 mile an hour speed limit thing. So anyways, I just thought that was kind of interesting. It is not liking not really being able to go very fast. So I thought that was interesting. But we'll go ahead and go back downhill here in a minute. I just noticed that like the acceleration's kind of going up and going down a little bit. We're at 4% and it's saying 4 miles. So we'll go ahead and turn around here pretty soon. And 3%, but still only 10% on the acceleration. That's what I wanted to say. This is fun, actually. I enjoy doing this. It should stay around 3%. May go a little bit below that. All right, I'm pulled over here. Actually, I got down to 1%. So everything's good. It's still running and everything, but we are down to 1%. And I'm still probably a couple miles away from my house here. So we're just gonna keep going, and I will turn the camera back on again whenever it says 0%, and we'll see how this goes. So let me tell you though, before I keep going here, one of the reasons why I'm doing this is now the third time I've gone all the way down to 0, and one of the reasons why I'm doing this and I'm willing to see it go down to 0 is because I'm pretty confident there's a little bit of buffer at the end. I'm not recommending it, but I've actually, you know, some people are scared about the batteries, and I'll go ahead and tell you what I recommend, and I've said this before, is that you actually don't let it go below 10%, and then usually I charge it up to 90. But part of that is during the winter, what I highly recommend is that you just plug it in. And if you have too much of a charge, go ahead and plug it in to the slower charge, just do the 110, and it'll charge about 1% an hour, but it keeps that it just keeps the battery warm and good and happy, and everything's all good. And then something else I was going to tell you is that I am going to, after this test is done, I'm going to plug it in, and I'm going to see if I get the same. Right now I'm at 1.8. miles per kilowatt hour. And I'm going to do the same trip, but I'm not going to do the whole 100% to 0% again. But I'm actually going to just see if it's still 1.8, because it's still going to be cold tomorrow. I'm just going to see if something, if it actually is better, because I like testing, if it's actually better to plug in your truck and leave it plugged in, if you actually get better, if you get better range just because you have it plugged in and the battery is warm and nice and feeling good and all that, whatever. I'm weird. All right, so let's go ahead and get this down. We're at 19 degrees and at 1%. Let's go ahead and drive around here a couple more miles. I think it'll make it to the house, but we'll see. It'll make it. All righty, guys and gals, no more need to be concerned. I made it home, and let me show you what I got. So we'll just get right to it. It is 19 degrees still and 1.8 miles per kilowatt hour, 224.5 miles, and 0 and 0. But here's something else to think about. I do have, I have it set for 70 degrees in here, so the heater hasn't turned off. So I think there's still a little bit of a buffer in the battery, and we'll go ahead and see how much actually. Let's test this out. What's 1.8 times 131?
1.8 times 131 is 235.8.
All right, so the same thing happened the other time. So it's basically saying if I really did get 1.8 miles per kilowatt hour, I should get 235.8 miles. So I think there's a little bit of buffer still built into the battery, so I could probably go a little bit further. Do not try it. I'm not going to, because I like my truck. I don't want to ruin the battery or anything, but 0 and 0. So there is still a little bit of buffer. And if you ever do get in a situation like this where you are, away from a charger or whatever, just go slower. Go slower. Like, slow down your speed. Don't go above, if you're on you could actually even get off and go on side streets, and usually the braking will help charge it back up. And then make sure that, this is what I do. I do sport mode, and I turn the Pro Power onboard off, as you've seen me do a few times. But I think this is really cool. It's a really good example of how temperature is actually impacting the battery. So if you actually watch the other video, and I'll put a link, this is my first video, I got 353 miles from 100% to 0%. And I think that's a lot. I think that was really good. And there's probably still buffer in the battery then too. But that was in the summer. All right, so heater now just kicked off as I'm talking. So the heater now just kicked off. So that means it's actually getting really, really low. So we're gonna, so the heater's now getting really, or the battery's getting really low. So, but what I was saying is you can actually do that. Turn the heater off if you want, reduce it, and get to even if it's just a slow charger, just get a little bit of charge and then go to a fast charger to charge up. I did want to actually point out, so that was 353 miles in the summer with great, great weather. Everything's good. Now this one, I'm actually driving through snow, and it seemed like maybe because of the all-wheel drive and everything, having to, adjust the speed and drive on ice and all that kind of fun stuff. It seems to me that maybe that has some kind of impact on making it go down a little bit. What's 224.5 divided by 353?
224.5 divided by 353 is approximately 0.636.
Okay, so that means that in extreme cold temperatures, I only got just under 64% of the battery. So it's something very good to note that the colder it gets, the more it's gonna have an impact on your range. But I still got 224.5 miles, and I think that's still pretty good. So anyways, I'm gonna plug it in now, and I'm gonna show you one more test, and that is I'm gonna see if after I plug it in, if it still gives me a 1.8 on the range after I go up and go down again. But I did want to point out all three of these tests, from the 353 to the 253 to now the 224, I did want to point out that, oh, sorry, that was probably 283. I don't remember. We'll just go ahead and say it's 280. 283. Anyways, whatever it is, as you could tell, it's progressively takes a hit on the range for like how cold it actually is. So if you're going to be driving around in sub-zero temperatures, and then, I wouldn't expect to probably get above 1.7. You might even get less depending on your terrain. But what I was doing is I was going up and down between Colorado Springs and Woodland Park, and that has been some of the best range for me. So I think I would get a little bit higher than some of you that have tried, driving around just, flat around the city or whatever. Maybe you do get better. I want to hear about it. Let me know. So let's go ahead and do this last little test here. We'll get it plugged in. And yeah, this has been awesome. So thank you guys for watching. Let's go ahead and do that now. Woohoo! I bet my truck's going to be really happy now. So remember, in the winter, plug it in. Just leave it plugged in, and you'll be good. And then if you need to do a slower charge, if it's charged up too much, you can plug it into the 110. So, all right, let's do this. So it has been charging all night. So let's see how far it got up to. Looks like it at least got 3/5, and at least got to 60%. Let's see how much further it got than that. 76%. Man, that's awesome. 76% is basically, that's all you need. Usually 70 to 80 or 70 to 90% is just kind of an average charge. That's pretty cool. So we're going to actually see if keeping it on the charger actually was really good for it. So we're gonna see if it actually gets better. Keeping it on the charger gets better. So remember that's 1.8, and we got our 224.5 miles from the test. So we're gonna actually see if we do better just by having the battery all warmed up. So restarting there, same thing. We are going to have the heater on, and this is saying 38 degrees, but remember it's actually less than 20 right now. And because it was inside the garage, is why I was doing that. So we got our heater on, and then we're going to turn on seat heater. Do it basically the same thing that I did before. We're going to scroll over here. Come on. There we go. Pro Power on board. And turn that off. And that is pretty much all we do. So let's get going. And let's test and see if we get better range. All right, guys, we are back. This is the last part of the video, so I think this has been exciting, but I got some interesting information for you now. I'm really glad that I did this extra test. So this is the first time that I've done this to test the difference between how a battery responds and range responds right after it's been plugged in, as opposed to just leaving it sitting and it actually responded better, and I'll show you. So now you remember it was like 1.8 is what it was. That was the miles per kilowatt hour. That's the range. And today I did the same thing that I normally do, and it's still cold. It was actually it's actually right now it is 18 degrees, and I'll show you here the temperature gauge on the truck. Actually, I just parked back in my garage, and so that actually so it's saying 21. So the garage is heated, and so I think it's having a little bit of a response there, but it was saying 19 right before it did that. So we'll go with 18 or 19 degrees. Regardless, it's still cold. It's been that way all day. And I was up in Woodland Park, and it was about 12 degrees, and between 12 and 15 degrees. And it just sat there. So that's the thing that's the same, but the thing that's different is I actually plugged the truck in, and I'll show you here again. It was actually at 76% whenever we started, and now it's at 54%. And for those of you who were like, oh man, it only got up to 76% after being down to 0. I actually think that's pretty good, because it's the portable charger that I'm using. So I think that's pretty good. So you can't knock that. And also, I don't need that much. I mean, if I was going on a trip, I would probably charge it a little bit earlier. I probably wouldn't be doing one of these tests right after that. So a trip's different, but this is just every day. And that's, 22% is all I needed. Now, that's a little bit more than what I would be doing in the summer, but 2.0 miles per kilowatt hour, doing the same thing, going up to Woodland Park on sport mode, turning off Pro Power on board. So that's the first time I've done that. I might continue to do it. Now, it was a little bit warmer, not sub-zero, but it was definitely below 20 all day. So that may have had something to do with it, but so I like to test this out a little bit more, but we'll do that on another video. But I just think that that's really, really interesting that I did the same thing, but it got better range because the battery was responding better, and is what I'm guessing. I'm not a scientist. So I don't know. All I know is the results that I got, it seemed to actually be better and not use as much of the battery and get a little bit better range. I'll have to find another cold spat that it's going to stay below freezing to test this. But this is Colorado. Again, usually it doesn't stay below freezing all the time. It actually goes down and then up right above freezing during the winter. So a good test for me. Now I know I'm going to be plugging this thing in. So my recommendation actually to you is to plug it in every night during the winter. And like I said, if you have too much, what the gauge that I do is that if it's below 60%, and so it is right now, I'm going to be plugging in the faster charger. Get it up to 90%, and that's kind of what I charge it to every day. But if it's above 60%, then I'll plug in the slower charger, and hey, sweetie.
Hey.
Hey.
What kind of cheese do you want in the toasted cheese?
What?
What kind of cheese do you want in your toasted cheese?
Man, the only thing you need to put in that there toasted cheese, I don't know what that is, but I'll take a grilled cheese with that there American cheese. American cheese. That's what I'll take right there.
How many pieces? How many pieces?
Well, you can put 2 pieces of bread, and in between those 2 pieces of bread, you put either 1 or 2, if you're feeling frisky, slices of American cheese.
Okay.
How many toasted cheese sandwiches?
How many toasted cheese sandwiches with British cheese do you want?
Oh, I don't want none of that British cheese. Don't be putting none of that on there. My goodness. No, that American cheese one I want, and you can put there like two of those American grilled cheese sandwiches.
Okay, 2 of those British.
So here's what you do. Here's the formula. Here's the formula. Are you ready?
Yes.
2 slices of cheese, 2 slices of bread, and 2 sandwiches make the perfect grilled cheese meal.
I don't know. What did you say?
2 slices of bread for each sandwich, 2 slices of cheese for each sandwich, and 2 sandwiches make the perfect grilled cheese meal. American grilled cheese.
Bread inside the 2 pieces of cheese, and then give you 4 British cheese sandwiches. Okay, bye.
Bye. I got a fun family. They're making grilled cheese for dinner. Anyways, so what I would recommend on a regular basis, what you do every single day is you plug your truck in. And like I said, what I do, if it's below 60%, it's just what works out for me. If it's below 60%, my faster charger that plugs into a 240 watt outlet, that gets me about 6.8 kilowatt hours per hour. Now, the other one, I have it plugged into the 110. If it's above 60%, I will plug it into that. And that just basically just keeps the battery a little bit warm, and it only does about 1% an hour, or 1.2 kilowatt hours per hour. So it doesn't really do much. Like, I'll get up in the morning, it'll be about 70%, but I don't need a lot, you know. So obviously you saw I only needed about 22% on the battery each day. You know, maybe 30 at the most. But some of you may wonder, why do I have 2 portable chargers? I have one plugged into the 110 and one plugged into the 240. I don't have to do that. I had one portable charger. That's what I've done basically the whole first 2 years. And then, but the reason why I now have 2 is that first one started overheating, and it just was not liking charging fast, and it was just it went orange. It had that little orange warning thing on there for part of it, but it did work okay when I plugged it into the 110. So there's 2 adapters. There's 2 adapters that, and I can actually show you here. Roll my window down. I could just show you right out here. So I had 2 adapters, and you can see that's what they're plugged into. The 110 right there on the left, and it stays blue. It still works fine. So I had the 110 adapter right there, and then I had this. It came with this original charger here. So what I did is I just bought a new charger and plugged this one into the 240, that one into the 110. I didn't have to buy any more adapters, and it seems to work. I got a pretty good deal from Ford on it. I think it was like $380 or something. So not bad. But if that happens with you where yours starts going orange, if it just starts it, what you do is you just unplug it and wait for a little while, plug it back in, and then just see if it does it again. If it does, you know, if it continues to do it, then it's overheating, it's going bad. But if it just does it once and it resets it, you don't need to go get a new one right away. But what I would tell you, that's just what I experienced, and it works pretty well. I don't have any issues with it. I was just going to throw away the other one or recycle it. And I was like, well, if it's still working on the 110, might as well use it. So that's what I did. Now, the other thing to think about that's actually really important with this is that this is happening. The original portable chargers, people had them going out within about a year or less or whatever. They have a 2-year warranty on them. So try to take them out. That's what Ford told me anyways. So try to take it back to Ford, because it came with my truck. it, like, they could have actually, it could have actually just replaced it for free, but it went out right after the 2 years. It's kind of ironic, actually. I know it went out right after that, so I actually had to pay for a new one. But if it's under 2 years, you should be able to take it in and do a warranty claim on it. Let me know how that goes if you have to do it. I'd like to hear about that. But if it's past the 2 years, then you could try the setup that I'm doing if you want. If it actually still works on the 110. And then, but don't go out and buy, this is what's important. Don't go out and buy a used one. Get a new one. And the reason why is mine would actually work. It wouldn't go orange for about an hour, maybe 30 minutes or an hour. But after that, it got overheated and it would go orange. So you may actually go look at one, like somebody may actually post it and try to sell it. And you wouldn't want to get stuck with somebody's that actually is getting messed up. So just a piece of advice. Hopefully it'll save you a little bit of money there. But I think I got a pretty good deal for it. I think it was like $380 something. I think they normally list for over 400. So anyways, yeah, try that out. See if it works for you. Let me know. But I think this is pretty good little setup. It's not the pro, it's not the pro charger that they do. That was going to cost me like $1,800 to install it. So I just didn't want to do that right now. I might do it. I still have it in a box. I might do it sometime. But that'll charge at a higher rate than the 6.8. I think it goes, depending on how many amps you have sent to it, it'll charge at, like, it could charge anywhere from 12 to 20 even kilowatt hours per hour, which, that would fill you up in just a few hours. So I just plug mine in overnight and it usually works out fine. But I'm just blabbing on here, but I wanted to actually tell you, I just think it's very important to note that my batteries seem to respond better, like plugging it in and driving after it's plugged in, and that day, and it seemed to respond better. So just something to think about. I'll continue doing more tests on this, but I just think it's important just to note that. So my advice for you is make sure that you just plug in your truck every single night, especially when it's cold. And then, in the summer, it's probably not that big of a deal. I leave it unplugged, unless it gets below 50 to 60%, then I'll plug it in for the next day during the summer. But during the winter, I like to plug it in every night, and I just think it keeps the battery conditioned a little bit better. So yeah, anyways, there you have it. And make sure, let me know in the comments your experience with driving in the cold. I like to hear that. Again, just a disclaimer here. This is a test to compare it to what I did in the summer. Everybody is going to probably experience something different. It depends on your location and the terrain that you're driving in and how you drive. And so if you're a speedster and you like to go, speed really does impact the range a lot. So don't speed. Don't recommend that anyways. Cold weather will impact the battery, and terrain. And similar to actually a gas vehicle, it does, terrain and speed do impact your miles per gallon as well. So this is a test to show you how your Ford Lightning can respond in cold weather. And so that I did it for you. So, but now I'm going to be plugging my truck in every night. I'm not going to be doing this anymore, but it will last. It will be okay. Your truck can go drive in cold weather, warm weather, whatever. At some point, the battery does get really, really cold, but it hasn't gone past the acceptable markers for me. And it was down to minus 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 degrees minus, that's Fahrenheit. And that's, so that's pretty crazy. It was pretty cold during this test. So hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. This was exciting for me. And I know that we're just going to continue to learn more together. And again, I have like 48,000 miles, and it is awesome. I love having an EV truck. It has saved me so much money. Check out my 2-year video and you'll actually see how much money I've actually saved. One more little thing to note here. I just got back down to Colorado Springs after filming the video and being done, and it's now been a few days after it was really cold. Now it's in the 60s, and I just wanted to show you the difference here. And whenever it gets into the 60s, doing the same trip, it actually ended up being 2.7 miles per kilowatt hour. And again, that's 52 miles. I just started this just for the fun of it. I wasn't even planning on actually getting that good of range, and it's 61 degrees. So that's just something else to note. Just to point out the difference, how much cold weather actually does impact it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this part 2. So that's it for me on part 2 of this 100% to 0% winter test. Again, it's different no matter how cold it is. So it's not just about being cold. It's about how cold it is. And as you could tell, that was a significant hit that I took to the range, going from like always below freezing. So just be aware. I love my Lightning. Just be prepared in the winter that you will basically end up with less range. It's just the way it works. Not to negate EVs at all, but just to tell you how to be prepared, and actually quite the opposite, just to let you know that you actually really can drive in cold weather in an EV. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next video. Remember, 100% to 0% winter test. Yeah. Thanks for watching.